All right, so he's gonna wave us in. He just waved me in. Yo, it's Corey, Justin, then Chase.
What it do? What it is?
Hey, what's good? What's good?
What's up, man?
Coolin'.
Got the wine.
You see what's going on?
Smooth.
Hey, what's good? What's good?
Cool. Man. Got the glasses over there, huh?
Hey, what's good? Solid. All right. Point of getting in a relationship is to ideally get married at some point in time.
Yep, 100%.
True. All right. So with that being said,
But this makes me think of an important question. If you get into a relationship because you're trying to move towards marriage, when you're in that relationship, say you love that person, but you realize she's not the one you would marry. Does that mean you break up with her immediately?
well, so I mean, it depends on what your intentions of dating are. Like, why are you dating in the first place? Like, if you're dating with intentions of marrying somebody and you realize that you're not going to get married, then what's the point of keep going?
To be honest though, like a lot of dudes, including myself, like, you know, we actually, as men, we are low-key could be possessive in a sense sometimes. Like, you want nobody else to bag your John. Right? Like, that's why I be so hard at chalking John sometimes. Like, damn, like, I don't want boys out here, like, I don't want people like just get it out my girl. Like, even though you know in the back of your head, it's not supposed to be like, Charlie should move on.
Yeah, so that, to me, that's the biggest like reason why most relationships don't work. It's the ego. I mean, men have the biggest egos in the world, but also women too. But I'm saying, like, when you have ego in any situation, it's just never honest. It's just never exactly what you want it to be. So to me, that's like the biggest like hindering fact on what makes relationships not flourish. You know what I'm saying? Because actually, I feel like in a relationship, you're supposed to serve your other person, your partner, right? You know what I'm saying? So when you have that ego and when you have that ego aspect in there, it's never gonna work.
I agree. I feel like the natural feeling and inclination is to go to that point though. Like as a man, like it's unnatural more so to not kill your ego. Like, it's more natural to just feel like, you know, like, I don't want nobody to bag her. Like, this is
That's insecurity though, right? No, for real though. For real.
Nah, it's a fact. If
you really love somebody, you want them to be happy regardless. So if you can't be like, I don't want to marry you, but nobody else can marry you.
No,
like,
not even that, but you know, like, I think it's in the short term. Like, you don't. I think people be caught up in the short term instead of like long term. You probably eventually like you get over it, but in the short term, especially if something very serious, like.
You're just saying it's hard to let go. Like, even though like you may like know like, okay, this is a girl I don't want to talk to. Like,
you still careful.
I mean, I may not want to marry. It's like there's still something there, and it's like, dang, like I don't want to just let this go, or maybe it's just hard to let it go. I mean, I feel what you said.
You ever been in a relationship and said, this might be my wife right here?
No.
No?
Actually, yeah, no. Take that back. Take that back.
Oh.
I take that back. Yeah, but that was no. But that situation was from an immature perspective though too, because it was kind of some of the gestures like, yo, she's checking off a lot of boxes, but there's a lot of boxes that are just like, bro, I just. Like, she could have been like my wife, but I don't know if that would have been my ideal situation, and I don't know if that would have been healthy for both of us.
Then with marriage being one of the most, if not the most important decision that you're gonna make in your life, and with like 40 to 50% of marriages ending in divorce, the question that then becomes, how do you go about finding that right person? Because that makes the time before you get married so important. So like, how do you go about filtering through all these different girls to figure out, okay, this is the girl that I can actually see myself marrying?
The most experienced bull might as well start.
I think like to really like find like the girl you want to really marry, like at first you have to be right within yourself. That's like the first step. If you're not right within yourself, like you have some type of depression, you have anxiety, anything that's like really hindering you, you're gonna split that amongst your partner, and it's not gonna be. Because you're gonna grow as a person, you want to make sure you start off on a solid foundation. So setting that solid foundation of you being good and making sure that, and her as well, vice versa, right? And also, I think like as far as like finding the right partner, I think like it's important, like, you know, like who you're deciding to give your energy to too. So like, it's like, I'm a believer that when you have like, if you're like you can date multiple people, but if you're sexually active and you're having sex with like multiple people, your vision gonna get blurry and clouded. You're not gonna really know like, okay, like it's too much going on.
I got one additional comment though. So if you're talking about energy, you feel a person's energy as soon as you meet that person. Yeah. So you really know. I feel like to keep it 110, you know your intentions with the person, relatively soon when you meet that person. So you're talking about putting your energy to the right places. I mean, if you're not doing that, if you dating multiple women, you technically not putting your energy in the right place.
Well, that's not true. That is not
Nah,
true.
bro, because listen, not for real.
No.
Honestly, life is about trial and error. You didn't find your career by not exploring different careers. You didn't find your passion by not realizing something you weren't passionate about and you're more passionate about this. And I think you can bring that same perspective to dating. Like, you feel me? I feel like I have a better understanding of what I want because there's girls that hurt me, there's girls I hurt. But from all those experiences, I took something from it, and now I kind of think I know what I want, but still, I might realize tomorrow I want something different. So you gotta date, you gotta experience different women, different things, different cultures, just so you can be like, okay, this is what's for me, this is what's not for me.
And then I'll add to that by saying just, I think like the intent of dating is to figure out what you want. Like to figure out the things you like and the things that you don't like. I think for me, one of the biggest things about dating that like you got to remember is that like you got to be consciously dating. Like as you're dating, you got to ask yourself, okay, like am I seeing what I like? Am I seeing what I don't like? Because like what happens a lot of times, we just end up just having fun and just like messing with like a bunch of different girls at the same time, having fun. And then it's like when we look back and ask ourselves, what do I actually want out of a girl? It's really all just a blur, and it's just like, dang, I don't really know. So I think one thing is important when it comes to dating is one, just making sure that you're consciously dating to the point that you're like asking yourself, like, okay, do I like this out of this girl? Do I like that out of this girl? So you can figure out what you want, because you got to know what you want. And then two, I think when it comes to dating, I like what you were talking about with just kind of like being selective on like after you find out what you want, like, okay, I know that like if I were to talk to this girl, it's not gonna go anywhere. So what's the point of wasting my time with a girl like that? And then lastly, I think that like one thing that I had to learn too is just like you gotta take it slow, because it takes time to get to know somebody. You can like there can be like an initial vibe with somebody, but then when you really start talking to them for a while, it's like, damn, like, you know what, low key, like I didn't think that I would see this later on, but I did. So I think that like taking things slow is important too.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I read there's a stat that I heard that speaking especially for American relationships, so in a cultural basis, a lot of people get in an initial relationship and they are like, you know how you got like, you just really on that lovebird type flow. Yeah. You really every day underneath them type stuff. Like that, you basically like killing, like you're basically killing your climax early and not building up to something and then maintaining a level basically. Some people, that's a problem with like a lot of people's relationships, is that they like they get so wound up in such a quick pace that they like, it's like they exhaust the situation, like almost in a sense. And that happens a lot. I've seen that happen with like a lot of people that I know personally, like all the time.
I've heard the biggest thing that keeps people together is not love, it's desire. If you can have that love, but you spend so much time together, you don't desire to see that person, you just feel like you hit, level 10 immediately, and now you see nowhere else to go. Where if you work towards it, it probably could have been. And
that leads me to one of my things. It's like, I think that like one of the biggest things that I had to learn is that I want whoever my future wife is to be, I want her to be like a friend, because like when I think about marriage, I plan on being married longer than I've been alive. You know what I mean? So like when I think about my 25 years of life and like just like how that's been, I've changed so much in that time. And the only people that were consistent during that time are my friends. Like the people that I've been with for the longest period of time are the people that I was friends with. So I think like when that love fades, that like initial like lusty kind of like we're just so in love with each other, like yeah, the infatuation like simmers down. It's like after that, it's like what's left. And if what's left is like empty, then it's like clearly like we're not gonna be for each other.
Man, you know me though. I'm a sniper, dog. Like I'm not gonna shoot 1,000 shots. So if I'm dealing with a person, regardless, I might even be slightly feeling you or find you attractive. But I'm not gonna press the issue like that. We're gonna be friends. Like we're gonna have some sort of friendship built.
So you're taking your time.
I think we're forgetting a very important factor. We talked about friendship. We talked about love. But at the end of the day, marriage is also a business decision. Like, And I think
facts, though.
I think we talked about that too. Like, I feel like your girl, like, we're all gonna get to the bag, like, and we're making moves now. But honestly, are we gonna settle for girls that just are beautiful and have great personalities that we love and have friendships with? Like, she gotta be bringing something to the table professionally, or at least have a passion and a purpose, because it's a business decision.
Okay,
you try to get they'll hit you for half.
That makes the question. So, like, does the girl's career matter? Like, does what she's doing as like for a living like make a difference? Like, where does that play in for you? I can say for me, honestly, it's not about like what you're doing. Like, okay, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a teacher, you're whatever. I don't care what you want to do, but what's attractive to me is the level of passion you put in whatever your goals are.
Like, especially we're talking about women are gonna eventually marry, is like women that have that are really their own boss. So too, and when I say that, not saying like they have to be a business owner or anything like such, but they really say something and they follow through with it, or they really want to do something with life and they really go out and pursue it. Like, they really put in the energy behind their actions. Like, they really are moving with purpose. Like, that is attractive. 100%.
Yeah, but I think moving with purpose, I don't think that classifies you as a boss though.
I think saying your words and backing it, like saying what you're gonna do and backing it up is like an example of what like.
But I see what Chase is saying too.
I'm just saying, I personally don't think the woman's professional career has nothing to do with if I can marry her or not, though, honestly. And just from my experience, to me, that's just like you fall in love with the idea. Like, you fall in love with like a certain fantasy, and it's just not real. Like, you know, something like the marriage that you had to deal with, like, that you had planned in your mind. It just, to me, it never goes as planned like that.
So
you know
wait, so is there an occupation a woman could do that makes her more attractive to you? Like, it's like, dang, like, okay, she really is, like, okay.
I mean, I think
say like Rihanna, like not just like hypothetically, like a singer, like a big singer, like, damn, this is Rihanna right here, like, this is crazy, like. Wait, does that play a role? Be honest. Like,
does that play a role? I mean, for the hype, I mean, initially, probably, yeah. But for the longevity, I don't think, no. I think love is a feeling, and you gotta feel like that. It's just a certain feeling you can't explain, you feel me? So the bread is not gonna bring that. And everybody knows that. That's a fact.
Like most women, I feel like don't want to go 50-50. That's a fact. I feel like most women want it to be 80-20.
And you said it should be 50-50?
Yeah, why not? Why?
Finances, 50-50 on the finances.
Yeah.
No.
Women be entitled. Women be so entitled to make it think.
So you dating Oprah, bro? You gonna be like, damn, I'm bringing 50-50, and we live in a life that costs $1 billion.
I mean, look. Here's the thing, right? If I'm dating Oprah, and she got all these bags of cash, it's different. But I'm saying, like, I think as a man, I take on the responsibility. I'm accepting of that role of being the provider. But I think it should be 50-50 on effort. So it's like, look, if you have a job and you got some bacon to bring onto the table, bet. Let's run it. But I'm not necessarily making that a requirement out of you. What I'm making a requirement out of you is that you're putting equal effort into this situation. That the same level of effort that I'm putting in this situation, you're putting in this situation. I'm not working hard for you to be just cooling.
Question.
Real quick,
Question though. So y'all both making the same amount of bread. Y'all both making, like, say you're just hypothetical. Y'all both making between 95 to 125K. Both of y'all. Like, you feel like you should be taking care of the bill every single time.
Well, look, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I have a wife who has money too, and she's willing to work together, then okay, we can work together. But if I didn't, I'm not necessarily looking at you like, why are you not coming through with some cash?
I think anytime you're stressing on finances like that, especially if you're in a relationship talking about going 50-50, I mean, it shouldn't be like that. Like,
it shouldn't even be a stress. It should be more of like an understanding.
The girl should reciprocate the energy, like.
And I think for me, if I'm spending money, first of all, I'm not personally tricking like that at all in general, like, honestly. But anyways, if I'm going on my way to spend money and go on dates and do that kind of thing, that means I'm just taking care of you. I don't think about it as money. It's just literally something I want to do for you. So you talking about going 50-50 on finances, that means you being, to me, it sounds like a selfish thing. It's like, what am I getting out of this? What am I getting out of what I'm putting out?
Okay, hold on, time out. I'm not talking about 50-50 on the finance aspect. I'm more so talking about, like, the entitledness that comes along with, like, the entitledness of, like, you're going to pay. You know what it is type of situation, instead of it being, like, appreciative matter.
What are you looking for in your, like, the partner that you'll end up really settling down with? Do you have an answer? Or will you just know it when you see it? Like, because if I ask you, like, what are you looking for out of, like, your future partner? Do you have, like, certain things that you know you want or you don't want? Like
100%.
So, like, what?
I mean, yo, you gotta take care of yourself, one, man. You have to take care of yourself. But I think like the
Expound
like
on
a
take care of
nuance.
yourself. What you mean by take care of yourself?
I mean, you know, as far as just from your mind, body, spirit, everything obviously affects each other. So, I mean, if you know, just living like a reckless lifestyle, you know, you're not, you know, you're about to be the mother of my kids. I'm expecting you to really have a what's the word, like, you have to be healthy. Like, it's really that simple. Like, it's really that simple. I'm sorry. Like, no, but
That
seriously.
take care of yourself. What else?
But also for me, I need my girl. I need my girl to inspire me, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I need to wake up and look at what she's doing and make me go harder.
So you're not. I mean, but are you not inspired?
I'm inspired. But I just feel like when you dealing with a person, you talking about somebody you have to spend the rest of your life with. You know what I'm saying? It just, I mean, you can like and love them. I think that's fine. I mean, you love a lot of people technically, but if she don't inspire you, I mean, I feel like it only goes so far, personally.
True. Anything else? Like the top joints, like I need this, or it's not. It's like a deal breaker.
I think the like value. So like having like a solid family, like small things like that. I think to me that's extremely important. You know what I'm saying? Your relationship with your parents, if you have them. You know, how you expect, like your idea of what a marriage should be, like your personal philosophy of how a marriage should be ran, etc. You know, how you treat others, simple things like that. I mean,
All right. What you looking for?
I mean, I think Chase touched on some of the most important things. The only thing I would add is like support. Like, you know, when you love somebody, you gonna support them what they're going through, career-wise, emotion-wise, family-wise. You want to be a support system to them. But a lot of times relationships are very lopsided. Somebody's really pouring into the other person, just trying to inspire them, keep them support, keeping them mentally stable, keeping them happy. But are they putting that same energy to make sure you're happy, you're good, like inspire, you know, make you feel good about yourself and your situation? You can't be a problem solver in their life and them not even attempting to be a problem solver in yours. So it's gotta be equal. Like we gotta be trying to build each other up together on a daily basis.
What's important to me is equal effort. And like, granted, we all are contributing in different areas. I need to make sure that we're both putting in equal effort into this, and that I'm not pouring into you and you're not pouring into me. I feel you on that, because to me, true love, like when you really say you love somebody, it's about giving. You can't say you love somebody and not like contribute anything to them, because love isn't just a feeling. Love is more than a feeling. To me, love is an action. Love is an action word. So it's like if you can't say, oh, I love you, but you really just need me. You don't really love me. You just need me. You know what I mean? Like if you love me, then you're looking to see how you can make my life better. You see what I'm saying? And I think that like we all know that life's like hard and life gets difficult. And I need to know when things get rough, I'm not by myself, and I have somebody who's gonna get down with me. But what are some things that you guys learned about yourself that like you feel like you had to do differently to make sure that you're like better suited to be a good husband, like in the future, I guess, or like maybe even just a good boyfriend? Like what are some things that you had to change about yourself?
I think like I definitely like for the type of woman I want, like I had to like really like just like I'm really just about making myself a better person, and that's like mentally, physically, wherever it is, because like I demand greatness out of myself. So if I want a woman that's gonna be greatness, like I gotta look myself in the mirror first and be like, yo, am I really doing everything that's possible for me to be great?
Yeah.
I think I was like kind of selfish, like didn't want to be vulnerable, didn't want a situation that didn't benefit me in all aspects. And like when you got that mindset, you forget about the person, forget about their needs, forget about, like you said, we just talked about pouring into each other. If you selfish, you can't pour into somebody else. So I just learned you gotta really be selfless, and you gotta think about yourself, like their needs just as much as yours.
That's real.
But it's just gotta be a balance though, because you could be too selfless and forget about yourself, or you could be too selfish and only think about yourself. No. So it's really just about balancing. It's about balance.
I mean, I think for me, one of the things that I had to like realize though is just like I can't like be like I agree with you when you say like I just can't be selfish, because I think for a long period of time I was like kind of like more so like forgetting of like not just going in it just because like the girl looked good, you know what I mean, or like just because I wanted it that bad. But it's like, if I'm being honest, like I knew deep down like it wasn't nothing ever gonna happen from it, but I still kind of like just
you need something on your team at that point.
Exactly, you know what I mean. But it's like I think one thing I had to learn though is like if like be aware of my intentions, and if I know like okay, this is a girl that I'm not gonna like it's not gonna be that deep with, I gotta like at least publicize those intentions, like, hey, like right now I don't think this is going anywhere like that. You know what I mean? But I mean, you know what I mean? Something like that. So like at least like she's aware, because you know, like nobody's trying to, you know, ruin lives or break hearts out here. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? I mean, I think besides that, another thing I had to learn too is just like the looks fade. You know what I mean? So like after a while, like you know.
Even like right now though, that's the thing people gotta understand too. Like over time, you're gonna be kind of just like, oh, it's kind of whatever. Like no matter how bad she really is, to me, in my opinion, honestly.
Looks fade. Do looks really fade though? I don't know. If you had Beyonce, her looks really fade? Rihanna's looks really fade. You feel me?
They do fade eventually, but
if you really got bad,
I can't have a light zone. I can't have a light zone.
No. There's difference between like looks fade. Everybody, to some degree, you know, we get older, things change. Looks fade to some degree, but like, could y'all deal with a girl where you married her and she gains like 100 pounds and really like lets herself go health wise?
I'd be sick, but I mean, if that's the wife, like you gotta just encourage her, like yo, we gotta get to the gym, like come on, babe, let's get to the gym, like I'll just be on it. But I feel like if I say like till death do us part, you gotta be prepared. You gotta be prepared for those changes.
Wait.
But it's just more about like you can't just be going to Wingstop every night and being like, all right, that's the move. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's
not attractive.
It's not attractive. But I mean, I'm not saying you got to be in the gym and be no or trainer or anything like that. Like that's ridiculous. It's like, nah, you don't have to be in the gym, nothing crazy. But at the same time, I mean, you know, your physical definitely affects your mental. So if you're thinking about it in that perspective, you should be doing something. Like it doesn't have to be nothing crazy, but you should be doing something.
I need my wife.
Something.
My wife gotta be in the gym, dog.
So then, are you gonna be in the gym?
Yes. I'm never gonna be out the gym.
I mean, okay, what you're asking for is what you're giving. I mean,
but I think is I actually discussed that with a girl recently, and she was saying to her, health wise and diet wise and working out is not a deal breaker because that's something you could always implement. More people, you should be worried about character flaws.
So then, with marriage being like something that's seeming like less and less culturally accepted, do you guys feel like what's the point of getting married? Like, what do you think? Like, why do you think God says like be married? Like, what's the point of being married?
I think it's okay, especially if you're trying to raise children, I think it's very important to have a two-parent household.
Yeah.
Because you need a woman's energy and a man's energy are completely opposites, but they both provide comforting and positive things for a child to have.
No, for me, I think that's one big thing. Like, I think the one of the biggest reasons why we get married is for like just the legacy of it all. Like, if I'm gonna have kids, I want them to be in the most ideal situation to be the best them they can be. And we do already know that a two-parent household is the best way to do that. It's not impossible to be great without a two-parent household, but if I'm gonna write my own life story, I'm gonna have my kids in that type of situation. But then past that, I think that like, just with me wanting the best for my life, and just wanting to be like, you know, in God's like purpose, I think that like, it's important that like I go God's way. Like I kind of don't necessarily understand it all, like why like we can only be with one person for the rest of our lives. But I think that like,
Wait. Talk about. You said you don't understand how you can be with one person for the rest of your life.
Well, like say for instance, like I didn't want to have a baby and I didn't want to have a family. So then it's like, but it's like I still have passions. You know what I mean? I still like women. You know what I mean? And I still want to, you know, like have sex and all this and this and that. It's like, why do I have to be with one woman? I'm still learning.
That's a real question.
I'm still learning it, you know what I mean? But I just know that like God built this thing a certain way and he wants us to control certain passions. So I look at it like if I have that passion of like loving women, I want to do it God's way just so that I can get the best of my life, because ultimately God wants us to live our best lives. So it's like,
I also think dating a lot of women and several women is energy. And it could be energy like at some point that doesn't need to be put out. Like when you have one woman, like that, at least that part of your life is kind of complete. Like
it's not really true. It's true, but it's not true.
It should be complete though. At this point, like when you're dating a lot of women, you try and keep you got a lot of Johns on deck. That's That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of focus on a lot of different places. When you got one woman, like you can focus on a lot more things. Like you don't got to focus on nothing
That
else.
is real though.
Oh, is that true?
It is. Is
that
What
true?
he said is right, but I just think that people usually want more than one woman on some lustful type time. And I think that's the problem. Like I just talk about, I'm not sure what I want, but I don't know if you go back in history and you just look at it. There was the societies where people where men had multiple relationships, and that was just the way of life.
You need to break societal curses. That doesn't mean that's right. Just because they did that all generations, that's right. Like my grandfather and my grandmother got divorced when my dad was in college, and my parents got divorced when I was in college. I am very hell bent on breaking that curse. Like I'm gonna be with my wife for the rest of my life. Like, and I just think like you can look in your past, you can look at different societies and be like, oh, they had 3 or 4 women. That's not what I want. I want one girl that I'm rocking with for the rest of my life. And I mean, I'm not in a rush to find it though. I think we haven't touched on something that's an elephant in the room, right?
What?
Because we all talked about, you know, what we want, personality, stuff like that. But we all are men. We all have needs. We know the Bible doesn't say sex is just to have kids. The Bible says, you know, a husband and wife are supposed to have sex frequently, and it's supposed to be enjoyed. So how important is sex to y'all's marriage? You feel me? Like, is your wife, you know, having good sex, is that important to the marriage?
I think the sexual chemistry is very important, actually, to be honest. I think the sexual chemistry is bad. It's just like you're not gonna really enjoy, like, you're not gonna enjoy the entire person, if that makes any sense. I think it all kind of depends, it all blends in one. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, if you're having a bad time, literally, you know, dealing with your joint, that's horrible. I couldn't imagine doing that. That's horrible.
Sex is like one of the most important things. It's on the hierarchy of needs, or like on like on the social scale. Like, you know, it's like food, water. You know, like sex. Sex is up there.
You
bro.
put sex up there with food and water?
It's on the hierarchy. No. There's a thing called the hierarchy of needs in sociology. There's a hierarchy of needs. Sex is up there. It's important. It's a very important aspect. Like, and it's actually, and as men too, it's important that like. We actually like know how to. It's important that you make your John. Your girl should be feeling some type of way too. Like she should be like really asking for it. Like really feeding for it. I feel like if anything. Like,
I think that sex is important. I mean, but at the end of the day, like you that's something that she can learn. She can get her skills.
Like for me, it's a little interesting just because like I'm trying my hardest, to wait until. We get married. So it's like, for me, I think that like, it makes it interesting because it's hard to really see, like, because it's like, ideally God wants us to wait till we're married. So it's like, how can you tell if if you got good sexual chemistry if you haven't necessarily had sex to find out?
That's why I low-key don't know if I can wait though. That's real. Like if I had to, cause bro, if y'all, both of these dudes are saying that they don't think a marriage can last without good sexual chemistry. And then you wait till marriage and that joint is trash?
But here's my thing. Hold up. Because I think that like, even if you're waiting to have sex till you're married, there's still moments where you get to see.
You can get the feel, yeah, exactly.
Where your
it's about the
chemistry
person.
together.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you guys are kissing or hugging and touching, you can tell like if there's like a real passion there, or if it's on some like just weird type different vibes.
There's more factors though because what if your girl is just like. I don't do that. Like she's not into giving no top like that. Like that could be a problem.
But then see then you have a case on your hands then, because it's like, all right, well my sexual limits go here. If your sexual limits are here, then we may not work. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I also think that like
you'll never know. You should never know if she's not into that or not.
No, you can have conversations.
That's true.
You can have conversations. But then I also think that like we're making a big deal about sex, and sex is like crucial, and I think it is like a glue to a certain degree. But I also think that like as men we have like other needs that we may not vocalize as much, but that are actually extremely important too.
Probably more important though, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. I would even say more important too. Like for one, like just a place of peace. Like when I'm with you, I'm at peace. Like if I'm like at work, I'm at like school, I'm out here in the world stressing, going through everything. Like I know when I'm with you, I'm at peace. I know when I'm with you, I can be myself. When I'm with like everybody else, I have to kind of put an act on. With you, you know who I am.
Be comfortable,
I can lay my head on, like down and be at peace with you and know that everything is good. I think for me, that's like crucial. Like I can trust you.
I can be honest with you, and you're not gonna judge me for what I've done potentially in the past.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Exactly. I'm not
Right.
getting judged.
Right.
I can trust you with like,
Comfort.
man, comfort.
Come in the house feeling comfortable.
Yo, crucial, and I think, but I think trust too. Like, I think when it comes to trust, women think about like infidelity, and like we think about that too. And like, it's like, can I trust this girl? Can I trust her? But I think even past that is, can I trust you with like my emotions? Can I like be vulnerable with you, and you're not gonna use it against me later on in life?
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, can I be like myself? Can I be transparent with you and like let you know things without like you using it against me? You know what I mean? I think like that's important. Like, and like sex, but like sex is crucial too, though. Like if it's trash, like it's not gonna work. But like, I mean, I think like people.
It's really hard for
hype,
sex to
though.
be trash.
It's
though,
like it's hard if
it's gonna be trash.
If your wife is trash, because honestly, like
I've had some
when
trash.
you-
I've had some trash.
But did you have feelings for them? Did you have feelings for them? You can't really have trash sex when there's a true connection. It's hard. It's really hard to have trash sex.
So then, okay, what about this? So if the girl's waiting for marriage, right, and like you really feeling her, could y'all wait? Like, so she like you got
110% actually. 110%.
Sure. I could.
It's gonna be tough.
It's not gonna be easy.
I prefer that actually. I'm like, damn, I rock with that.
So you're not gonna get it popping with nobody else. So like you're in a relationship and y'all like taking your time, and she's like, yo, honestly, like I'm not trying to get it popping right now. You're not gonna step out on a relationship. You're gonna stay.
But then look, you said no sex. But when you say no sex, does that mean nothing? Like no sexual activity? Because a lot of dudes could be content with like she throw the top. You might be like, oh, I can deal with that. You feel me?
You can survive. You can survive.
She do some things. She do some things to get you past the moment. But if you ain't some no nut November, that could be crazy, bro.
I like you do become a different bowl off the no built up.
But they say though, like
Me to see like
you heard what Tay said. The vision's clear. Like there's a reason why God might say you should wait.
The vision's
so you
clear.
can see things more clear.
the vision's clear, but also like the cheeks are looking more clear too. Like I'll be honest. Like I'll be really just pressed. Like, oh hey, this is like crazy right now. Like
Now I see what you're saying, but like I don't know. Like I think like when it comes to like wait until you have wait until you're married to have sex, you're also learning how to control your passions. And like passions like that aren't controlled can ruin lives. Like you can have a baby before you're supposed to. You can do so many different like things. So many different things could go wrong. So if you can master that passion,
Discipline.
then you have the discipline to master like controlling your finances
If you have discipline, you
and
can do
not
anything.
spending too much or like whatever. You know what I mean? So like there's a reason. Like I feel like our body wants to do like being like a believer in Christ is like crazy because it's like our body wants to do the exact opposite that God's trying to tell us to do. It's like God saying, yo, wait till marriage to have sex. And you're like, what? Like, bruh, I don't feel you at all. But there's a reason behind it. And I think like it stirs up a level of greatness in you. And it's not like you're never going to have sex ever. It's just like at a certain period of time. But I mean.
I do it. I know you are.
It's not easy. And I'm not saying I'm perfect.
I would definitely be a fan earlier, but like you are definitely more clear-headed when you're like not like that's what I kind of brought up earlier. You having sex with multiple partners, like you gonna be it's gonna be more cloudy. The judgments are gonna be a little bit off. You're gonna have a different energy. Like you drain yourself.
I think a lot of marriages and things are ending a lot now because like everybody's so accessible to each other. Everybody has an opinion on something and nobody has privacy. So I think you need to keep your relationship private and really just work on you two, and like keep the social media out of it, keep people's opinions out of it. And like, that's the best way to go. Cause you're gonna be like, I mean, I quote my dude Drake, she went to Rome and all she did is take pictures about going to Rome. Like you don't want your girl to just be like dating you because of what the world thinks she's supposed to be doing.
I feel you on
Like,
that, though.
y'all gotta be loving each other, focused on each other, and not worry about what the world's thinking.
That's why to me it always circles back to yourself. It's like are you really doing these things for yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like it's really just the perspective. And to me that's really the key is king.
No, I feel you 1,000 on that. So then it's like what I think too. Like sometimes, well, I've never been married, so I can't really tell you too much. But I think if I had to predict, I would think some of the reason why marriages fail is because of expectations not being met. And like, so like, what are your expectations out of a marriage? Like, do y'all? Because Corey's saying he feels like the lust could last all the way through. And see, I heard something even crazier, different, where somebody said, there was a couple who was married for like crazy years, like 30 some years. And they were saying they just thank God that neither of them fell out of love with each other at the same time. So it's like, clearly there might be moments where you fall out of love with that person, but they were saying like, luckily they both didn't fall out of love at the same time. So I'm like, what are your expectations?
That's interesting though, because it's just like, is it even real love if you fall in love though? Because like, even on your ex-girls though, I feel like if you love the person, you can continue to love them. It's unconditional love. You might not be in love with them.
Yeah, see, and I think that's what it is.
You know what I'm saying? You might not be in love with them, but it's completely different though.
Yeah.
You always gonna have love for that person regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I think there's two loves. It's like I love the world, I love y'all, and then it's like I'm in love with my girl. And I think when they were talking about falling out of love, they were falling out of like that, like real like
that passion
and infatuation stuff. So like, I don't know, like I think like people who are married have to do a good job of making like what marriage is like clear. Because it's like when you look at the public, like you look at your mom, your dad, you don't really, like some people, I mean, see the turmoil, but sometimes you don't even see that. Or sometimes you don't, like when you look at pictures of marriages, you see the wedding, you see the smiles, but you don't necessarily know like what's happening behind the scenes. So like, I think like, at least for me, I want to know like, what is being married actually like gonna be like? You know what I mean? Because this is something I don't know.
But I think it's cool that we don't know because like we know everything at this point. Like, and you can figure it out. You can Google anything. You get the information. But I think what's cool about marriage and love, it's like it's an adventure that you'll never really understand until you experience it on your own. And I think that's probably one of the only things in life that we have that we will never know until we experience.
But I do want to prepare though, because it's like I've been saying like I'll catch myself saying like when I grow up and then like look in the mirror and realize I'm grown. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't want it to sneak up on me. Like I want to be able to be like, okay, this is what I'm getting myself into when I say I do. You know what I mean? Like to get somewhat of a gist of it, because it's like for instance, like the fact that like you change so much. Like, what if in 25 years, your wife is like a whole different person?
You're gonna be a totally different person.
Yeah, exactly. So it's,
you're not necessarily gonna be a different person. Your core values are gonna remain the same, but you're definitely your core version of yourself will remain the same. But you will gain wisdom, perspective on just different things. You will grow as a person. But you're necessarily gonna be the same person. I think my personal reason why I believe marriages fail so much is because I think a lot of people in society there's a lot of people in society that settle and don't really have control over their own life. That's a real thing. And like they're in situations they don't really want to be in, or they had a kid and then we had to get married because they had a kid, or it could be like a cultural thing. You know, my parents is pushing me to be married at this age, and like it's a part of our culture. And then like you got American culture too, where it's hypersexualized, and it's a combination of factors that are like causing people to be like not married long.
So how do you guys bring God into your relationships though? Like, do you guys pray on it? Ask yourself like, okay, God, is this like, what should I do right now? Like, how do you guys bring God into like relationships?
I think I'm just very transparent about my faith. Like I'm very, I'm a faith-based person. Like I'm a Christ-based person, and I'll never hide that from a girl. I don't hide that, and it's on the surface. I don't pry into their faith, their spirituality. I'll let that come out on their own. Like it's not a deal breaker if you're not Christian, because I'm not asking. It's not a deal breaker if you're not religious, because I'm not asking. I'm gonna let you know who I am, and that God plays a strong role, and the biggest role, and the most important role in my life. And if you see that, and you're not faith-based, hopefully you'll gravitate to why I'm like that and want to learn. Or like maybe one day you'll share it with me and we'll, deal with like our faiths when they come. But I just think it's not a conversation like they say you shouldn't talk about religion or politics, things like that on your first day, like deep conversations about it. I feel like you should let people know where you stand on it, and like
I feel you, and I think like, at least for me, like I definitely like God. I think God is just so involved in my like situation that like I'm definitely gonna like keep him involved and like help me discern like who I should be talking to and who I shouldn't. But I'm definitely not like pressing the girl out like the first time I meet her, like, yo, like, are you a Christian? Do you believe in Christ? Blah blah blah. I'm not doing all that. But I do think it matters though when it comes to like thinking about like a long-term relationship and like the person that I'm really gonna settle down with, just because faith in God is literally like that's my source of everything.
So real quick question. So say you say you're in a relationship, you feeling the girl, y'all getting serious, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you basically come to learn that she's really more spiritual based than religion based.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where does that bring you to your relationship?
I mean, out of the love, it's like it depends on like I love everybody. I got love for people. You see what I'm saying? So if she was like a spiritual girl, like who wasn't necessarily like a believer in Christ, I would expose her to like what I've been exposed to. You know what I mean? Like it's like if I know like, okay, if you go down there that you'll get $1 million, you see what I'm saying? I'll let you know. I feel the same way with God. It's like if I know God's gonna help your life, I'm gonna expose you to that information and see how you respond. But I do think that the girl I end up marrying, like settling down with, has to be equally yoked with me in that like belief of like believing in Christ, just because I want my kids to know like God is our source. Like this is where we get our like everything from. Like everything that you're looking at right here, God gave it to us. I want them to know that. And we can't, how can I do that if I'm on one page, when you talk to daddy in the car, he's on one page, and then if you talk to your mother, she's saying a whole different thing. You see what I'm saying? We gotta be one like body. You see what I'm saying? So in order to do that, we gotta be on the same page.
I was gonna say the way I bring God in my relationships, so when it gets like that, as I really just pray for. I really pray for the person, like especially like for like any endeavors they're gonna go through or anything that they're doing. Like I make sure I throw prayers in for the family members, like that maybe something that happens to their family members. But really just making sure that like sending prayers for them and making sure that I keep them in my prayers is like something I always do.
That's great.
Because people find, at the end of the day, people find God at different stages, different points in our lives. Like, I think we were all raised in pretty faith-based households, Christian households. So like, you know, I think we all went to Christian schools to start off in life. Like everybody doesn't have that experience. So like, and like, people don't gravitate to things thrown at them. People gravitate to things that they feel like they naturally gravitated to.
So what do y'all think like God had in mind when he made like men and women and like told us like, you know, put us on the earth? Like what do you think he had in mind?
I think when you look into wedding vows, it's like when a man and a woman get married, they become one. They become one person. So like, I just think God was like, when he had marriage in mind, he was just like, at some point in your life, you gotta be selfless enough to let like somebody become bonded with you, like attached at the hip with you, like. And I think it's because there's like more power when you have somebody with you. Like you can't do everything alone. And I think that's probably what God had in mind. Like he knows, like he wants us greatness for all of us, and I don't think he thinks we could potentially do it alone. Like.
Oh, too. Hold on, real quick. Crazy fact though. Nah, crazy fact, because I think 90% of millionaires. I read this fact. 90% of millionaires are actually married. You know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of crazy to think about that. Like, and you have to think. We was talking about this actually over text. I think one of y'all, and we was talking about basically like the people you surround yourself with really determines like where your outcome technically gonna be at. And you gotta think if you sharing this energy and this time with a woman that's not inspiring you, what we was talking about earlier was not inspiring you, that's not building you. It's just like you're really holding yourself back at the end of the day.
Do you guys struggle with being vulnerable? Like is it hard for y'all to like open yourself up to girls? Like I feel like how you feeling? Like some people are open books.
I'm a for sure open book. Like I'm almost like I'm a very like free spirited, open book, like loving type of person. I got like a lot of love to give. Like it's kind of like crazy. I have an abundance of love to give. So like no, for real. And
like you really have to be vulnerable for it to actually flourish in any way. You know what I'm saying? And be honest with yourself and with your partner. Like you really can't just be. I mean, I feel like everybody got something in their bag that they're not 100% proud of, or even like a trait of themselves that they're not 100% proud of. But I feel like being vulnerable in that sense, I think it's important to actually have a healthy relationship. You feel me? So, I mean, I think it's key.
Is there a stage when you share your vulnerabilities? Because like,
real quick, I think that's the last thing too. I think being in a relationship has made me almost less vulnerable though at the same time, or who I give my vulnerability to. You know what I'm saying? It's 10 times more selective now. You know what I'm saying? Because when you really giving somebody your all, your heart, I mean, you're really giving them like your whole, like your bag, your whole emotions. So they can really kind of do whatever they want with it. You know what I'm saying?
Love is a risky thing. Falling for somebody is a risky thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of pain in it, unfortunately.
Man, okay, so if we had to finish, what would you tell your like son and daughter like about how to approach dating? Because we're not taught it in schools. If we're honest about like our parents, I mean, most parents just kind of say, "Don't bring back someone trash home."
They feed you to the wolves.
You know what I mean? Like, and
What would we tell our future
so, what
kids?
would you tell your future kids as advice to like go about dating? Like,
I think
in short,
I think it's nothing specific, like specifically, but at the same time, I think it's an open dialogue on just gems of what I've learned and what I've been through, and kind of being, open with them and letting them know like what's really kind of going on, even if it's not pretty. Like, I think even if it's ugly, like, honestly, like, kind of just sharing that insight so they know if they see this thing arising in their life, they can have like a somewhat leap ahead to understand maybe I should go this way. You know what I'm saying? So
I definitely want to you definitely want to talk about sex, especially for if you have a son, because that time period your hormones are going crazy, dog. Like, you really just watch it, like, you watch like hella porn, you're probably going crazy, like,
But not only that though, but the people that's bagging the most Johns is the most flexing. They get the most love. They flex it on you. You feel me? So it's just like, damn.
Yeah, I definitely, you want to tell them yo, the importance of realize what comes with having sex with somebody, like giving them perspective about what that does, like, cause like you have a different perspective when you're older compared to when you're younger. When you're younger, it's strictly I'm strictly just trying to get in, but you don't think about the like the stuff that comes afterwards with it, right? So just everything from protecting yourself to knowing that you're dealing with being cognizant that you're dealing with somebody who's really dealing with somebody's emotion and being sensitive towards that, and not being influenced, like don't letting people influence who you date just based off what is like the thing, like,
or even manipulating people just to have sex.
I remember when I was in middle school, like at a dance, like everybody was trying to dance on the strictly the Mexican Johns. Everybody was even dancing on the black, like that was a thing. Like it is so crazy. It's so crazy because growing up in our area, like that was just what it was. There's low-key a lot of dudes to this day that strictly only date like a certain type of woman, and it's like ignorant. So like making sure they have perspective and they have knowledge, so they're not ignorant in their stance, is very important.
I would just say don't set timelines. Like, this is one of the few things in your life like that should happen naturally and organically. Like, a lot of things in your life you gotta have like real goals and timelines for accomplishing. Like, if you want to go to college, like you gotta get good grades each semester. If you want to become a professional athlete, like you gotta perform well in middle school, high school, college. Like, with this dating thing, there's no timelines. Like, let everything be natural and organic, because it's actually a blessing to have an aspect of your life that can be natural and organic. So just enjoy that.
But to add to that too, though, I'm so thankful because my family always told me, do not worry about these women, like ever. Like, they always just told me, like, you got the rest of your life. Like, these women will always be there. That's something that they always told me. And I feel like the reason why that's important is because it made me really focus on the things that, to be honest, really mattered. Like, that really got me like ahead in certain things that I'm doing. I never let like women, which is sometimes the biggest distraction for men. You feel me? Like, a lot of my guys went down because of women.
Don't put your happiness in a woman either.
The vice versa, you feel me? But it really just made me focus on things that, for my self-improvement, and that kind of, solidify what I'm doing. So I think that's powerful.
And I think for me, for my son, I think I'll let him know, like, as men, with us doing the selecting, we have not the power, but we do have like a responsibility to be like knowledgeable about like what we do and like how like it has an effect on the girls we talk to. Like, I think like it took me a long time to realize like how I'm really like affecting these girls' lives. You know what I mean? With like what I'm doing. So I just want my son to know, like, look, like, this is a little girl that you should be kind of careful with. You know what I mean? And like not just kind of like just moving like selfishly. And I think for my daughter, I would just remind her that like guys actually don't have the power, and like you are in control. And I would just remind her that like, look, like at the end of the day, like you have the ability to like deny or accept whatever he wants to do. And like don't ever let a guy like feel like he has the power on you. And like on both sides, just be very selective on who you like let in. And I think like girls especially need to know that though, because like they sometimes like I guess they just like let us do what we want to do, but ultimately like they could really shut the whole game down if they wanted to. Like, if girls really decided like, yo, like we not standing for this no more, like what we gonna do? We gonna have to change our game up. You know what I mean? So I would just want my daughter specifically to know, like, look, like you running this, not them. I mean, I definitely appreciate y'all for coming through. I mean, this is something that we really need to talk about, just being the fact that like people are getting divorces all the time and like nobody's really talking about what happens before you say like, I do. And I think that that's like really important. And like I want people who are watching this to know like, at the end of the day, like, I mean, we're not like experts, but we just want to start a conversation so that people can start talking about it and maybe like think about things that they may not have ever thought about. So that's what we're trying to do. We're just getting to the truth. We're still trying to figure out what the truth is. We're learning, you know what I mean? But definitely like conversations that have to be had. And yeah, I mean, we got more content coming out next month. Let's get it.